What do you get if you put in a pot a sprinkle of Nancy Drew, a cup full of Murder She Wrote, and a whole jar of the original Addams Family? You get Wednesday. But before we get into our review, guys, if you want to learn how to save money in gas, groceries, restaurants, check the description below. It's not a sponsor. We don't get any kickback from it. It's just our saying thanks for our viewers of watching and listening. Also, you want to be a superhero? Check the description below on how you can save a life or two. Spoilers. All right. So Wednesday is currently streaming on Netflix. It was ranked number 1 by the time we are reviewing this. I don't know if it's dropped or not. 8 episodes. I'm going to say off the bat, I had a blast with this show.
I did too.
It's made me guess who was or who done it. Thought it was this person, and I thought it was that person, and stuff like that. And then I was kind of right indirectly.
It doesn't count if you guess who it was and then you leave who you guessed and come back.
No.
Oh, damn. I lost that because
you're thinking it's this person, and
you change your mind because as soon as I saw the one character, I'm like, it has to be that person. Like, they brought them back for a reason. They're not going to keep them for this long. And then I'm like, maybe not.
Well, real quick, Wednesday is based off the Addams Family. Is focusing on the one character, Wednesday Addams.
True.
The majority of episodes was directed by Tim Burton, and you can see that here. But it's not so Tim Burton-esque like his other films like Batman Returns, Beetlejuice, or Edward Scissorhands. He has a distinct style in those films. Here, not so much. Only, yes, in The Monster, The Hide. That is so Tim Burton.
I want to say it's closer to like Dark Shadows.
I didn't see the whole film, so I don't know how the monsters are or how the setting is. I mean, granted, directors evolve.
True.
But the way that monster looked very much like Frankenweenie, his school project that he did.
Yeah.
And with the big eyes and the jagged teeth and stuff like that. And then that's the only comparison I have from his old style.
I mean, like, I love some of the characters were like Nightmare Before Christmas, or
right,
like if you're talking about the creatures, kind of like that. I'm
definitely talking about that. I love the fact that they embrace the Latin ethnicity of these characters,
because weren't they supposed to be of Latin descent?
We have Gomez.
Originally?
I don't remember. I remember in the regular show, the black and white one back in the day. You have Gomez, but I can't remember if the original actor was Hispanic or Latin.
I mean, the characters were originally, was it a cartoon or a comic strip?
No, it was a black and white. It was a comparison or runoff with the Addams Family and the Munsters.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think about the original, like which came first, because you know how some things were originally like a comic strip and they adapt it and everybody forgets about the comic strip or something like that.
Well, look it up real quick as I talk along. So anyway, I can't remember. I just know that in the movie had Raul Julia playing the role of Gomez Addams, Christina Ricci playing Wednesday Addams. You had the one that played Pugsley was a regular white boy, and then you have Angelica Houston playing Morticia, not Latin or Hispanic. But you have clearly the brother Pugsley is Latino, the main star Latina. You have the father Latino playing Uncle Fester, Latino. And the only worst person who is not Latino is Morticia, played by...
Morticia was supposed to be French, wasn't she?
Well, she's playing by Catherine Zeta-Jones, who played a Latina in Zorro.
True.
Very well, in fact. For me, I just loved it. I just love that they kept it there, because it made no sense to me that only the husband is Latino and everyone else is white. Any luck?
Yes, I was right. Okay, so it originally started as a... because of a cartoonist in the New Yorker who would do a sketch on it, and that was back in 1932 when it first was released.
Okay,
so it was originally.
And what about the black and white?
The black and white was done in 1964. Okay, when they were first started, and but that was like played. If we're talking about who played in it, are you wanting to know if they're Latino or not?
The person who played Gomez in that one.
Gomez was played by John Ashton. And John Ashton was...
Remember Night Court?
Was he in Night Court?
Yeah, you remember? He goes, I feel much better now.
I'm seeing him as an older man. Wow, I forgot that it was in Night Court.
And I appreciate that it was like, again, like a mystery. Oh, Scooby-Doo too. We put in Scooby Doo into the melting pot. That's what you have here too.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely.
A lot of callbacks to the original. That had some other callbacks where I thought was like made me jump in my seat for joy. And there's the one where the wolf girl and the mayor's son, they talk about Way of the Dragon and Tong Long. And I'm like, is your
Yeah.
name Tong Long? And I was like, oh my God, no, they didn't go for that. And they went, that was a deep cut right there because it
Hmm.
was so out of left field. It made no sense to have that reference in there, but it did, and I loved it. I mean, maybe because like it's my generation where we're at home, like when I was being babysat by grandma, that during the day you have all these reruns, the Beverly Hillbillies, you had the Munsters, you had the Addams Family, you had to
Yeah.
Get Smart. All that was like on those side channels when there was only 5 channels before cable was took over. And then you had like on the Saturday morning cartoon, not Saturday morning cartoons, but Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon Kung Fu Theater, where they'll play Bruce Lee films. That's around my popular in my generation, my like around 10 or 5 to like freaking 15. That was all there was. So for me, that was like a hit me in the soft spot. Hit me in the soft spot. And it gave a new meaning to the two snaps.
It did. Because the original Addams Family had the two snaps, but it was only tied to the theme song.
Right. But it showed in a way that it was like a callback to they belong to a certain society
Exactly.
or alma mater to the school, even though it was never mentioned in any of the movies or shows, but it was here that tied it to that. Was there any other references? I can't really think off the top of my head.
I think the references was to like the cartoons, because I think the cartoon was before the movies. Before this show.
Right. There's several. I mean, you have the updated movies, cartoon ones with Charlize Theron
You
and
see, you see Cousin It.
Oscar Isaacs. Huh?
Cousin It's one of the alumni in in his pictures there in the library.
It is the hand or thing. That's thing.
It was the furry guy. So
It was
like
the furry.
his
Sorry,
pictures
sorry.
hanging amongst the wall of one of the alum in the library.
Oh, there's one thing that I didn't like, or I think they missed because Gomez is supposed to be like a skilled fencer.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be a skilled swordsman. Here, they show that he wasn't.
I mean, he could
Maybe
became skilled afterwards.
Possibly, but I think I would appreciate it more if they showed him.
Yeah.
Okay. What was your favorite scene or moment?
A little bit hard to say. There were moments that really stuck out, like on episode 1 when she lets go of the piranhas into a pool.
Oh,
Great moment. I would say because I avoided all the trailers
me too.
So like when I first saw the first death, they had death in the Addams Family live action,
Mm-hmm.
but like where you see the body
Right.
parts and everything actually laying around, this was like they kind of
Mhm.
took it up a notch. And
Yeah.
it's not necessarily my favorite moments, but it did catch me with a surprise, and the surprise is what I'm enjoying. Funny enough, nothing really action wise that was a favorite moment. I would say it was more like plot driven favorite
Well, it
moments.
it doesn't have to be action. Real quick before you go, I just remembered 2 other reference points.
Oh, good.
Carrie,
Yes, that's the prom scene.
also, or maybe not the prom, but dance,
Yeah.
and also they cut. I'm surprised they didn't show it even more, but it refers to that dance scene where she's dancing, and of course, she says she got a lot of influences from goth people back in the '90s, whatever, where it was big, and she still got a video, but it's real quick. But she takes a dance move and she does it exactly like the girl does in the old television show. Wednesday Addams is dancing with Lurch, and she starts doing, and she does it real quick. Like they put it like for a second. And I just would have appreciated they did it, held it more because the moves was like carbon copy of what she did.
Oh, I don't remember.
And you can
that.
you can look it up. You can see this on Instagram or on YouTube where they do a comparison. And you have the biggest reference point is Christina Ricci reprising her role, not reprising her role, but
She's coming back to the franchise.
she's coming back. Right. She's coming back to the franchise. She was Wednesday in the original films with Raul Julia and Angelica Houston. But here she is the bad guy. That's who I thought it was originally. I thought it was her as the Hyde because of the
same here.
eyes.
Well, they had a couple
And
people
she
with
did-
big eyes. Like that one boy had
Well, no,
big
but-
eyes too.
Who?
The one that was crushing on her.
Oh, the guy from The Gifted?
Is he from The Gift? No, wait. Is he? He's not from The Gifted, is he?
The artist?
Yeah, was he from The Gifted?
Yeah, we had this discussion on another thing
I forgot.
on your Nerd Tots thing that he was the one that did the fire.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's him. He just grew. He just got tall and got a little thinner.
But he has bug eyes, man. No
True.
offense to you,
No,
kid,
you're right.
but your eyes are big.
But Christina Ricci had a bigger eyes, and so that's why I thought it was like she was a changeling. She called herself a normie,
Which that was a
but
thing
it wasn't.
that boggled me because I'm like, you call it like normies are supposed to be non-magical, non-mystic, or whatever,
No, regular people.
regular
That's what
people.
it was.
But
Yeah.
in the end, I'm like, homegirl, you're not a normie. You bring back your great 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 grandfather. And he's like, I'm gonna get rid of all these, and you're like, bro, you are far from any normie. You're
No,
undead.
but she's a normie. No, but he's not. Well, I just find it ironic that he's or hypocritical or whatever
He's
that
absolutely a hypocrite. Yeah,
he's using spells to destroy people who are witches, monsters, what have you. It's like, but wait a minute, you're one of them.
yeah. And
Unless that
she casted a spell to do the same thing.
right. Well, she read it. She just did it verbatim. She read the spells. It wasn't like she generated it
I
or
mean,
something like that. She didn't have
I feel like there
a
has to
cane.
be like you have to have some kind of arcane in order to do it. It's not like they were saying
Mhm.
like the werewolves could do spells or the vampires could do spells. It's like they have like literal people that they consider as like precogs or witches.
I'm sorry. That one thing I didn't understand. And for those who are listening, watching, sorry, we are jumping around,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's such a good show. It's like in 8 episodes long. It's kind of pinpoint something. But what they didn't understand or what they didn't make clear is like, how did that Medusa guy come out of stone?
Oh, they did
Is
address
it
that.
like they did when?
The roommate, the wolf girl,
Mm-hmm.
she was like asking him on a date. I think it was a little bit before they were asking on a date. They were talking about his Gorgon ability, and she goes, "I'm not
Okay.
scared of it. It's only temporary, anyways." So
Oh,
yeah,
okay. I mean,
which
damn it. Where was
honestly,
I?
that's an OP ability. Like it that would have destroyed the season finale if he just said like, "Ha, look at me."
Look at me. Look at me. Right.
He
And
would have
it's
froze
weird. It's like
everybody.
right. But the thing is, at the same time, it's like, yeah, he could have came and saved the day.
You can make the excuse that they made the description. He's an idiot.
But the other guy's an idiot. The merman,
Oh, that guy's an idiot too.
he's a big idiot. But no, it's like so
He only
for
had
his
like
powers
five
to work.
lines.
I know, but for his powers to work, he has to take out. He has to show the snakes.
Yeah, he does. Like they have to make eye contacts and show the snakes. That's why he always
Makes no
wore the
sense.
beanie.
No, I know, but it makes no sense.
I mean, that was the one thing. I mean, I get like when you rewatch the movies, the original movies, and like the show,
Mhm.
the supernatural characters are kind of normalized to where they exist in the world, but they're still outcasts.
Mhm.
But I'm like, bro,
Right.
like I'm watching. I'm like, you are like a little bit more extreme. When you first watch the Addams Family, like these guys are like when they know like see a hand moving around, they freak out. Like I never see a hand moving around before, kind of thing. Like here, they're like
Mhm.
talking about like werewolves and vampires and all this other stuff. Like they're like they just exist. And I'm like, I would feel less surprised if I knew these things actually exist. It's like, don't get me wrong, I'll still freak out if I see a bear in my backyard, but I'm not gonna be like, bears exist? I know they exist. So
Well, I mean,
it's just the kind of thing that was going through my mind. I mean, story wise, I think the story was pretty solid.
yeah,
It like
I
gave you a little bit of mystery. You had your cliche like teen groups, and you had the bitch queen.
it was very Twilight.
Better than
Oh,
Twilight.
definitely better than
I'm
But yeah,
not down
that
for
has
Twilight.
that.
But it does have that love triangle vibe to it.
Mhm.
Some people were trying to like say that there's a love triangle between her and her roommate, which I didn't see personally.
I can kind of see that, but it's like platonic, but nothing.
No, people were sexualizing it.
Uh,
And I'm like,
I don't know.
platonic, I get. Like, yeah, you,
Well, the thing is, like Wednesday doesn't know yet. Like she didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Because she never dated before. So
I mean, you could argue that, yeah.
yeah. But what I like about here also is that besides the mystery in the story is like like it's for Wednesday, it's almost like coming of age in a way. And instead of breaking out of her shell, letting herself open up. And I got a little emotional in that final moment where her roommate
Enid.
hugged her and she was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then she saw in her face that, that her roommate was like, had like care for her, like that. And then she hugged back and it was like that bond,
Yeah.
that shell that she held up so long was finally broken.
Correct. And that's really, for me, the biggest thing is like you're
Hmm.
breaking a barrier that she had. It's a defense. It's really a
Hmm.
defense mechanism that Wednesday Addams has, which was one of the, it's a sad thing that she has so much of a defensive barrier, but it's also what makes her as a great character because it's her flaw.
Hmm.
I mean, she's so defensive that she turns those who are trying to help her into enemies in a lot of ways.
But isn't that common with a lot of kids trying to figure things out, trying to find their identity,
Yeah, I'm not saying that's a
right?
bad thing. I'm saying that's actually it because you're a lot of times when you have your protagonist, you want to show them have growth, you want to have them have struggles and whatnot. And sometimes,
Right.
in the internal struggle is just as good as the external. And in this
Right.
case, her internal struggle, which you see, is her being put like a fish out of water, even though she's surrounded by people of quote unquote like her kind, they're not.
Hmm.
And like she isolates herself even from her family, from them. Maybe not Uncle Fester.
Right.
She bonded with Uncle Fester hard.
But
And
that's usually the case. It's usually they like the uncle or the aunt.
exactly.
Usually, you know. But do you remember from the movies if Wednesday had vision powers?
No, I don't remember that. She was very astute and very clever, but no powers were
Mm,
displayed in either of the franchise movies. I mean, it's not outside
okay.
the realm because Fester technically had powers too, like struck by lightning and he can now emit electricity.
Right, but that's the father side, and
The
then
daughter
the
of the
visions.
father.
But the vision, no, but the vision came from the mother.
True. I mean, that I feel like that's a new thing,
So
unless that was part of the show.
I mean, I don't hate it. I like it, but I wasn't sure if they brought something new to the table for this story, or it was just that something that maybe that make it more of the forefront of what was mentioned probably in the shows or the other movies before. No,
What's your
I don't
favorite
know.
scene? It's like I
Thank you.
went right to the first episode, Piranhas, which is really early on,
Right.
and I drew a
Oh, I
blank for
liked
a lot of
when
the other stuff.
with Tyler and or the Hyde and Enid fight.
Yeah, that's not a
And
bad
she's a
scene.
werewolf.
Like when she
No,
first
I
changes.
like, yeah, when she changes and becomes a wolfling and then they fight and she does a wrestling drop kick. I was like, what? And now that being said, I felt the fight finale was a little weak, a little short, a little too easy,
I get
in my
that.
opinion. Like it would have been kind of cool to say, like, you have the sirens, you have the Medusa clan, you have everybody pitching in. Like Wednesday could be the forefront
Yeah.
and they
Well, I
all
mean,
pitch in to
like I
put their
said, the
powers in.
Gorgon could have like ended the whole thing right there, frozen in stone, or like you're right, like the siren. I think she tried something and he got shot down. But they didn't utilize it. Like the vampires, they didn't do nothing in any of the episodes. Nothing was done with the vampires, and they showed other creatures too, like the
I think
faceless
they,
ones.
but I think they want to stay away with the like comparison of Twilight, maybe.
Yeah, I get that, but like you're right, they had other creatures that they could have used. I mean, the principal was a shapeshifter. They did
Right.
use that, but there was potential to be utilized otherwise. I can't remember. Remind me, did they kill Christina Ricci's character? I thought you froze for a second.
I just,
I froze you in real
no,
life.
it wasn't real. I'm trying to remember because
Because she was covered in bees, and then she kicked her in the face.
probably arrested then
Because I
because yeah,
remember
bumped in the
the
face.
Hyde was
He didn't
arrested.
kill her. Was he?
Yeah, he was
Because
definitely arrested.
the father found him though.
Yeah,
Oh
because
yes,
he was
yeah,
in
because he
trouble.
breaks out. He changes.
I'm
That's right.
just I'm maybe forgetting. Guys in the
He got
in the comments, get us.
right.
Did Christina Ricci survive? Is she coming back for season 2?
I believe she's arrested. Now I have to say, every time I saw the father or the sheriff, I
Mm-hmm.
kept thinking of. I'm not sure if you know who Brian Callen is. He's a comedian.
Off the top of my head, no.
Anyway, well, if you look up Brian Callen, you can see. Oh, he was coach in the Goldbergs.
I never watched Coverts.
Oh, anyway, the
My
sheriff and
bad.
Brian Callen, the guy who plays the sheriff and Brian Callen, they have a similarity to him. And I could have seen Brian Callen play this character and he would have killed it. Bianca for me was kind of overall. I couldn't really.
Well, I
I
mean,
understand
they
that.
didn't really introduce much to her character. I got a
No,
feeling
I'm
they
just
were
talking about.
confident
I'm just
about
talking
season
about.
2, and then and that's why they introduced her mother.
Well, for me, I'm just talking about more of the performance factor.
Oh yeah.
Felt a little like, but everyone else was great. I love Eugene. Eugene was awesome. Again, another Latino. Maybe not
Oh, the
Latino.
b boy, the The Hummers have to stick
Yeah,
together. He was good. He was definitely
yeah, he
like
was good.
he reminded me of the boy from the Addams Family 2, the summer camp. He gave me that vibe. He was the one character that kissed Wednesday Addams in the movies.
Okay, because I remember seeing the first one. I remember seeing the family values.
I liked the principal,
Oh
Gwendolyn
yeah,
Christie.
but she kind of reminded me like in a way like the way she went out. I was like, man, she just got plasma, Captain Plasma. She got because she was like done. Like I was like, man, you should keep her. Why get rid of her? It was like
Finally had something going on for her, and then they just took her out.
because I like that they were butting heads,
Yeah,
her and Wednesday, and now we don't know who's really stalking her because there's a stalker who's been taking pictures of her. Like, who is it? Is it part of her group?
over
Is
Wednesday.
it for Wednesday? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because she got, she was gifted all these pictures and all that stuff. So like, who's her stalker?
Yep.
Who's going to be the next villain of the next series? This was to me like a surprise hit. I know people were telling me about it, and I know it was like number one, but I didn't know it was this good.
What do you think about the fencing scene? Like when she fought Bianca.
Good. Yeah, it was good. A little too flashy to have
I mean,
seen
it
it.
makes sense to me though, because that's like if you take the fencing scenes from the movies with Gomez.
To me, I would like to have it build up. Say like they had the helmets on and they're fighting, blah blah, and then they're taking it like to the top. To me, it was like real quick, boom, challenge. First one to draw blood, blah blah blah.
You mean tension
to me,
between those two characters a little bit more?
Correct. I know there was tension there, but it would have been nice to have that build up more and that fight build up more.
True.
That's the only thing. I mean, overall, it was fun to watch. It was done well in that sense, where, like you're saying, tying back to the how good Gomez was with fencing. And then again, it would have been like she grabs the sword, even though that sword's not really fencing, but she grabs it with two hands. The one that she uses later that breaks.
Yeah.
And I'll say this: I like how she gets his attention by saying "Howdy, Pilgrim." I don't know. I got a kick out of that. I got a kick out of that because he is a pilgrim. And she's getting it, So I was like,
I kind of like the pilgrim scene where she was like a pilgrim selling the fudge.
Oh yeah,
Speaking in German.
In German, yeah.
That also reminded me of
anything?
Addams Family too, because there was a whole thing between the pilgrims and the
right
and the Indians.
So there you go. So that's a callback to that too. Then there you go.
I mean, honestly, there were some fight scenes in this show too, like and all with Wednesday, like when she was fighting the boys in the cafe.
That was good.
Yeah,
that one I liked.
And she fought the boys again one more time in the pilgrim area, and the one boy who got threw up on.
Yes. Yes.
Too much fudge, kids. It's not good for you.
Oh yeah. Was that Eugene? Did Eugene throw up?
Yeah, he did. But then they were gonna put him in. They were gonna put him in the was it Cascades or whatever. And she just came in, strong armed it, and then she put the one boy in there.
And she does a really good dead face, even with fighting. Even when they were fighting, her face was this deadpan.
I mean, they said that she's like tried not to blink as much as possible throughout the entire performance, which that's hard. What about the music for the show?
Oh, so good.
I like the introduction of the cello. I don't remember if that was the thing from the original, but and it was redoing some like I want to say there was some like was it Metallica? No, they did. It was Painted Black.
It was Painted Black, not Metallica. I thought it was Metallica and it was Rolling Stones Painted Black. And Danny Elfman composed, or his music was used in 4 episodes.
The part that surprised me was the psychiatrist. They really used the psychiatrist more than I thought they would have initially. Too, the actress that plays her, I remember her from like comedy, like a comedy music group and comedy stuff. So I think she was a good choice, but she did play it well enough that at points you were wondering if she was the big bad, like if she was the mastermind,
or she was like,
at one point I thought maybe she was a controller working for the principal too, having close ties with the principal. So,
well, yeah, I remember she drove the kid when she was a shapeshifter to the train station.
Yeah.
So I thought they were in cahoots, like she knew who that was.
She probably did. They were tied to hand in hand. But she probably did know, but not the whole situation that fell through like the way it did. So that was really intriguing in that aspect. And then Enid's character was a surprise character for me as a delightful character. Like they brought her in and like completely new character, and the way
a total contrast.
Absolute contrast. Like your room looks like it vomited rainbows. That kind of situation. You could tell there was a parallel between what happened between the principal and the and
Right.
Morticia,
Morticia. Mhm.
and that was the vibe I was getting between Enid and Wednesday.
Right, but they didn't have a same the same love interest.
True, maybe not yet. Maybe that could be later on.
Review comparison. So on Rotten Tomatoes, and I know there's other review sources out there, but we're going to use Rotten Tomato as our main source for this. The critics give it a 72%. The audience gives it 86%. What do we think? Who do we side with on this one? Do we side with the critics? Do we side with the audience?
For me, I would side with the audience. As a matter of fact, I might give it a few more points.
I would give it 90 as well. I would give it maybe a little bit more to the Bruce Lee reference, probably 93.
The one line. It's like I'll push it all the way to 93, baby, just for that one line. Honestly, if they said like tomorrow season 2 is coming out, which I think they did okay for a season 2, but if they were releasing a season 2, I would have been ready to binge watch it as soon as season 2 aired.
Definitely worth the watch. Okay. All right, guys. That is our series review of season 1 of Wednesday, currently streaming on Netflix. If you have a show or movie you would like us to review, please email us at tales2bros@gmail.com. Until next time, will be the next time. I'm Angel.
I'm Adan.
Love you, bro.
Love you, bro.